Hey everyone, welcome back to another December Daily video. My name's Amy Gretchen and I'm so happy that you are joining me today. So in this video I'm working on, like I said, another December Daily video. This is from the year 2021 and this is going to be days 18, 19, and 20. And I think in my last video in day 16 and 17 I said that those were maybe my favorite days. No, I think that these are actually my favorite days. And I think it's because of the topic and the stories that I'm telling, but I think these are my favorite days. But anyway, let's jump into what I'm actually doing. So I have a die. This is from Simon Says Stamp. It is a heart die. It came out several years ago in their December die release, and I will have it linked below if I can find it. Like I said, it's a little bit older. I am going to die cut 3 of these, and I think I don't show all 3 because I end up die cutting them and then I need to clean them out. This tool that I'm using I think came from Spellbinders. It's a really cool tool and allows you to get all the little pieces of the die out without having to use a piercer on every single hole. You'll notice that on dies they normally have holes, and that's because sometimes the cardstock can get stuck. And so at any rate, that tool I think is very helpful when you are using dies, especially very small dies like this one. So I've die cut 3 of these out because I want to stack them up. Now you've seen me do this a bunch of times. I feel like anytime I'm using a die cut, I'm always cutting out multiple and stacking them on top of each other, just to create some dimension. And I really do like the faux look of a chipboard. So that's definitely what I'm doing here. I'm going to be putting it on top of white cardstock. And so with this being white, I really want it to stand out. And that's why the dimension I think is really key here. Also, I'm going to be putting some colors, some pattern papers, hearts in between those little hearts. Not all of them, but I'm going to sprinkle them out throughout. And so I really thought the dimension would help there as well. So what you're seeing me do is I'm just kind of cleaning it up. Sometimes with these dies, they leave these little hairline pieces of the cardstock. And so I was just kind of cleaning that up so it will be a really clean cut. All right, so I'm looking through a bunch of my pattern papers. Most of these I'm looking through are, I think they're all actually from crepe paper, from various lines from the last several years. That Busy Sidewalks, I believe, was this year's. Then there was Hey Santa, and then Merry Days, I think, was the other ones I was looking for. I don't know if any of these are available, but I do know, which is really awesome, that American Crafts and Crepe Paper, they have these patterns available in digital format, and you can purchase those. And occasionally they will have them for sale as well, which is really awesome. I think I have Merry Days in digital form because I loved it so much and I wanted to make some stickers. And so I think if you have a collection that you really love and you're afraid of running out of the supplies, so maybe you won't use them, I think it's such a great option to get the digital file, and then you can use them for so many things. So at any rate, I was looking through all the papers and kind of deciding some that I thought would look good inside the hearts. I've got some pinks, some reds, some with gold. Then you can see I've got the Snowflake. I think the Santa one, although I don't know what I was thinking with the Santa one. I'm like, that's not going to look great with a heart. I don't think I end up using it. I don't know what I was thinking. But you can just see I have a variety, and I'm going to go through this for the next several minutes. So you'll see that this is the initial cut that I do, and then I'll do it again, and then I'll, like put everything in place, and then I'll do it again. And I do end up cutting some of this out as well, because I'm like, they don't need to see every time I keep going back to my die cut machine. But just so you know, it kind of was a process of figuring out, okay, I need another red one. I think another pink one would be great, or another yellow. So it was just me figuring that out as I go, and then die cutting as I go as well. So one thing I want to say about this die cut machine, I don't know if I've ever talked about it. This is the Spellbinders platform, and they have a smaller one, but this is actually the larger one. I think the smaller one is the bed is 6 inches, and this is a little bit wider. I think it's 8.5. And the reason why I purchased this one opposed to the smaller one, which is great for card making, But I thought this would be really great actually for scrapbooking, because I would be able to put an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper into the die cut machine. And often there are times that I want to take a full piece of paper and cut into it. Like I want that to be a part of the design and not have to have that separate, if you know what I mean. Like I want that cut into the cardstock. And so having the 8.5 by 11, I think, is a really great tool for a scrapbooker. So if you do not have a die cut machine, I think this is an awesome machine. I actually have recently heard that they are re-releasing the machine. I think maybe they've vamped it up a little bit. They've made it even better, and they're going to be coming out with another one. I don't know if it's available yet, but I know it's going to be available soon. I have seen some marketing on it, but I really like this machine a lot. I know that they also have a glimmer hot foil machine that goes with it. I don't have that. I have one for my glimmer, but they do have that available as well. One thing that I will note with this machine is, since it is a little bit bigger, it does take up a little bit more space in storage. So whether you're going to like leave it on your desk or wherever you're going to put it, just keep that in mind, as it is a little bit bigger than the smaller version, like I said, where the bed is 6 inches. But definitely a tool that I would suggest purchasing if you are interested in any, using dies of any kind, or using a hot foil machine or anything like that. So anyway, so what I am doing right now is I'm just going to adhere the hearts, this heart piece, on top of the cardstock. And you can see that I have a variety of the colored hearts sprinkled throughout, and I'm just going to start adding them just as by eye, just for what kind of feels good. I don't have any rhyme or reason other than, I don't want to have like two greens next to one another necessarily. So I am trying to kind of separate the colors. I do really like the color palette, and I'm always a huge fan of crepe paper and the Christmas collections that they come out with. And I think it's really fun that they include some lighter blues and then also some pinks, because I think those are really fun to work with during the holiday and in the winter months as well. So like I said, just piecing it together. You will see me probably go back to my die cut machine. Like I said, I ended up cutting some of it out, but I think I do go back maybe once or twice on camera just to show you that I am, I'm needing a few more colors. And I think at some point I just start like putting like larger pieces of paper through it, because you saw earlier I was just doing kind of smaller pieces of paper. I just wasn't 100% sure how many I wanted to add, how much color. I just had this in my head. I probably saw a card maker do it years ago, because I know that this die cut came from Simon Says Stamp, and they are traditionally I feel like they are traditionally around for the card making crowd. And so it's likely that I got this idea from someone, and I'm just like remembering it as I'm thinking about how I want to design this layout. I feel like that happens quite a bit when you see something, or when I see something, I tend to like put it in my brain somewhere, and then I see the die and I was like, oh yeah, I remember there was something that I could do with this. So I think that Pinterest is really great for that as well. If you can't really remember things that well, Pinterest is really great for when you see something that you like, saving it. The key with that I have found with Pinterest, because I don't really use Pinterest that much, but I feel like the key with that is remembering and going back and looking. I feel like I have pinned so many recipes, and then I never end up going back and looking at them. And then when I'm trying to find a new recipe, I'm just Googling new recipes instead of going to my Pinterest, which is so silly. I just need to remember that, that pinning and Pinterest is a thing. And sometimes I forget. So I think this is the last time I'm going to show you that I'm going through. And you can see that I put a piece of tape on my finger. I do have a little sticky picker thing that I showed in one of my videos, like a couple videos back. I don't know why I didn't use that, but I just went ahead and put tape on my finger, and it helped me pick them up just fine. No problem. All right, so I am done with the left side of the page and I'm going to start working on the right side of the page. So the reason why I was doing hearts is because this story is all about my anniversary, which is on the 19th, but this is actually day 18. And, you know, some years I try and put it like on the 19th. And I can't remember if I did it on the 18th just because design-wise it fit better that way. Or if I did it on the 18th because we celebrated on the 18th. Like, honestly, I can't really now remember. I'm like, was the 18th on a Friday? You know, like I'm trying to, or excuse me, like on a 19th on a Sunday. So we celebrated on Saturday. Like I just can't remember. But anyway, I'm putting it in my album on the 18th and I have zero problem with that. Like it doesn't bother me at all. So what I'm doing here is, you can see that my photo is a little bit smaller. It doesn't extend all the way, you know, 5.5 inches. And I'm doing that because I want to add some plastic onto the right side. And then I'm going to add some alpha stickers. So I don't think I have any journaling for this day. And I think it's because I didn't really feel like I needed journaling. I've got a whole journal of writing that I did that day. So I don't feel like it's something that I needed to add, you know, into the spread. So I didn't. But you saw that I used the ruler to help me figure out how much space I had for the plastic. And then I just adhered that on. And then of course I always have to write out the words with the spacing and the numbers, you know, write out the title so I know exactly where center is. And it's not going to be perfect because of course, you know, the I is a lot smaller than the N. And so it's not like it's necessarily perfect, but it's definitely closer than it would have been if I was just trying to eyeball where to put the A. But the A was the center, or I think it might have been, I don't know, A and T might have been the center. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, I'm writing down celebrating 25 because this was our 25th anniversary, which actually seems like a really big milestone. And I don't remember us really doing anything big, but that's okay. You know, a lot's going on during the holidays and I feel like there's other ways to celebrate during the year and it's just nice to be able to spend some time together. But like I said, I have a journal that I wrote all about what we did that day and some of my thoughts. And so I just didn't feel like I really needed to, you know, necessarily add like this is what we did on this day. I just kind of wanted to represent that we celebrated our 25th anniversary, and of course I thought it was fun doing that with the hearts. So I can't remember how big these letters are, and I don't even know if these letters, or excuse me, how tall they are. I'm not sure if they are available. I will look for them. I feel like I've had them in my stash for a while. If I can find them or something like it, I will let you know. I think having these small stickers are a great resource for any scrapbooking, especially Project Life or, of course, this project. So if you can get your hands on something like this, I would definitely suggest purchasing it if you ever see something because you will use them in a variety of projects. So if I can find them, I will definitely have it linked below. And, you know, as I was editing this video, I have no idea what I was writing and I have no idea, you know, I'm not sure what I was thinking. You know what? I think I was writing 18. Like, I think I was trying to think about how I was going to add the number. And obviously I didn't like it because it was my handwriting and it just seemed like it didn't fit. So I just pushed it off to the side. All right. So now we are moving on to day 19. And so for day 19, I am talking about the Advent. So I created this Advent last year, or excuse me, in 2020, when it was just Megan at our home and we were living in Seattle. And I did this special Advent for her because it was just such a weird Christmas. You guys know, with COVID and all that stuff and being alone and not having any of her siblings around and no friends. And, you know, so I did this special Advent for her. And I can't remember what I wrote for this story about the Advent, but what you're seeing, the day 19, which I thought was really fun because obviously I can use that 19 to be like the number of the day, right? So I'm not exactly sure what the story was and how I differentiated it from last year, but at any rate, this is about the Advent, or maybe it was just about, maybe it's about it being the last Advent. I don't really know because I'm assuming she will be around for at least partially December. It's so weird, you guys, when your kids grow up and move away and you're like, wait, are they going to be around at all for December? But I know school gets over like mid-December, so she'll definitely be home then. Okay, so let's move on. I digress. So I pulled out this Nuvo mousse. I really like this mousse. I think the color is beautiful. It's kind of a champagne color, but it was really dry. It really dried out. So I got to figure out a way to keep it from drying out. I think I might buy another one and maybe put plastic on it or something like that. But I will say that it reconstituted amazing just with some water. So I added some water to it, and you saw that I was really squishing it and really mixing it. And I got it to a really great paste that I was able to spread it. Now you can see that there's a lot of texture in it, but I actually really like that for this. This stencil, I believe, is from Simon Says Stamp as well. And I just think it's a really fun stencil with hearts. So again, I will have that linked below if I can find it. I feel like as lately, I've been using a lot of these older supplies that I bought, and not all of them are available. So I apologize for that, but I feel like there's gonna be something available that is similar. But I will say, you can create your own stencils, and I do have a video showing you how you can create your own stencil using using the silhouette. So I'm going to have that linked below. So if that is something that you are interested in, and you have a silhouette, you can always create your own. So that is definitely an option there. All right, so I am moving on to day 20. And for day 20, it is all about my daughter, Tess. You can see that I am printing out this photo of her. And if you look on the little corner, there is a photo of us talking to her. So we are FaceTiming her or Zooming or whatever you want to call it. And that's what we get to do every Monday. So she's actually serving a mission for our church. She is in Chile, and she had just recently left, and I'm trying to decide if this was one of the first phone calls that we had from her. I can't now remember. I don't think it was the first one, but every Monday we get to talk to her. And so the story for day 20 is all about Mondays being my favorite day because we get to talk to my daughter, Tess. So it was just a fun play on a couple digital files that we have, and I will get to that in just a minute when I'm actually working on it. But I just wanted to show you that I printed out that photo of my daughter using the Instax Fuji printer, which is a great printer. You can take any digital photo that you have and print it onto like an Instax, which is really fun because, it's Polaroid. And I just think those are a lot of fun to add to, your album. So as you can see, I was working on the journaling for day 19, and I needed the photo because I needed to see how large to cut the journaling. Now, obviously, I'd already done the math because I had already printed it out on my computer, but I just was using it for reference there. And now I'm doing day 20, working on the backside and putting the photo right in that exact place. So this is one of the reasons why I have a really hard time doing foundation pages, because of a story like this, where, or I guess I shouldn't say a story, because of the design, where the design of 19 really influenced the design of day 20. And actually, the design of day 18 influenced the design of day 19, which influenced the design of day 20. And I think I could say that for basically every page that I have in my spread, except for maybe a couple where it was just like a blank, 4x5 that I could use. So that's one of the reasons why I often hesitate to do foundation pages, because of that. What I need to do instead of foundation pages is I need to create pages like the heart page that I can just grab and say, okay, I'm going to use this in this story. Pages that take a little bit more work or have a little bit more steps to it that will save me time. I think that would be helpful to do those things ahead of time, but I often do not have the inspiration until I know what the story is and I've got the photo and all of that stuff. All right, so back to day 20. So you saw that I got my photo down and I wanted to add something in that space. And right now it says all is bright, but at some point I change it to something red and I don't even remember seeing when I change it, but I do end up changing it. And then that M that has the Monday below, that is from Paisley Press. That is a digital file that I've actually been talking about in, I think, the last couple of videos. I used one of her digital files. This is another one I think that came out around the same time. And so I will have that linked below. And then I grabbed this Allie Edwards file. I believe it was from one of her story kits, if I remember correctly. I'm going to have to find it. I don't think it was with December Daily. I'm thinking it was with one of her story kits. But at any rate, I really love this sentiment. And this was kind of my inspiration for doing the Monday, because I wanted to add that, because I just thought it was really cute to say, you know, any day that I get to spend with you is my favorite day, but it just so happens to be now that it's Monday because we get to talk to her, right? So it's so fun to be able to see her. So I wanted to ask you guys if anyone has a lot of experience with cutting vinyl. I have so many problems getting the vinyl off and then getting it onto the transfer sheet, the contact sheet, or whatever you want to call it, the contact paper. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I skipped through it because it literally takes forever, but I have to do like one line at a time. And then I'm using that tool to kind of push it down. It's just a really, really big pain. And if anyone has any advice, am I using the wrong paper? I don't think that I am. I'm using the paper that they've got, right? So I don't know what it is, but it drives me crazy and it often makes me not want to use any vinyl. I will say when it's small like this, I have a problem. If it's like a large piece, I never have a problem. It's usually when it's like letters and things like that. So if anyone has any advice for me, I would greatly appreciate it. I have tried various vinyls and things to see, like various contact paper to see if I can, you know, make it better, but it's just not. So if anyone has any advice, because you know what, I've seen a bunch of reels and they seem to not have this problem at all. So I feel like it's definitely something that I'm doing. All right, so you saw that I put that onto the plastic and I just wanted to add that on top of the journaling just to have a little bit of interest. Like I said, it was kind of the inspiration for day 20. That quote, and so I really wanted to be able to include it for that day. All right, so now I am adhering days, let's see, 17 and 18 back to back, and then I'm going to punch the holes on all of the pages. And you guys, I'm done with days 18, 19, and 20. And I have to say, I don't know what it is, but I've really enjoyed going back and editing these videos after the fact. Now that it's been like 11 months, it's been a lot of fun for me to revisit them. I feel very inspired and I'm like, oh yeah, and trying to, you know, come up with some other ideas that I might have for this year. But it's just been a lot of fun to revisit it this way. And hopefully you guys are enjoying these videos and finding some inspiration. So anyway, you guys, that is days 18, 19, and 20. I just want to thank you again so much for being here and always your support for this channel. You can see that I did not put on that heart. I'm going to do that in just a minute. I will tell you one funny thing about this heart and the reason why I have not put it down until now. I've been holding on to this red heart. I don't think it came out last year. I think it came out the year before, but I could be totally wrong. But I have been holding on to this red heart, not wanting to use it and only wanting to use it for the perfect moment. And that's why I kept hesitating. And finally, I'm like, Amy, just use the red heart. This is perfect place for the red heart. So I finally put it down and I'm super happy about it. All right, so the very last thing I do, of course, the very last thing that I'm going to do is going to be a number, because I feel like that always seems to be the one thing that is lagging behind. And you're going to watch me try and figure out how I want to, you know, put this down. It's so fun for me to look back and, you know, see the way my mind works. And I put it down and I'm like, don't like it. That looks weird. you know, weird placement. So I basically do all the 4 corners, and then you'll see that I'm going to settle on putting it right on top of the hearts, which I really loved. I don't even know why I didn't do that initially, you know. I really like the way that looked. Now, I do think it would have been fun to have the 18 inside the heart, but of course I didn't have anything like that, and I didn't want to take the time to try and make anything like that. So we are officially done with all of days 18, 19, and 20. So if you guys like what you saw, please give this video a thumbs up. It really, really helps me and helps me to continue to create content for this channel, and continue subscribing if you would like to see more from me. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below and I will get to them. And you guys have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.